the latest dose of Bipolar Recorder. This podcast may cause dizziness and blurred vision. Enjoy.
On a humid morning late in the spring, in a house nestled against an Appalachian mountain, I hear the distant horns of trains rolling along the railroad. The shriek of their metal wheels cuts through the valley as dozens and dozens of coal cars make their way to the East Coast, where cargo ships are waiting for them in the port of Virginia. During a digital age where the advent of artificial intelligence looms over America like a black-eyed vulture, there are still places where heavy, old-fashioned analog industry stands strong. The town of Roanoke has been in decline for many decades. I'm still not sure exactly why I moved here in 2022. The transition from the bustling metropolis of Washington, D.C. didn't exactly go smoothly. COVID lockdowns had already driven me and the rest of society completely insane. Plague, civil unrest, pharmaceuticals. How could anyone make rational decisions in a time like that? But this rusting community in the Blue Ridge Mountains has become my home. In many ways, I prefer it to the urban sprawl I spent the first 30 years of my life living in. It has a humble authenticity that DC lacks, for better or worse. Roanoke, Virginia, is now Bipolar Recorder's nexus. From my home studio, I connect with people across the globe. It is here that I record audio and video for my mental health outreach mission. It's where I prepare for my keynote speaking presentations. It's where I design graphics and maintain my web presence. When I started the Bipolar Recorder project in 2021, I envisioned it as a relatively traditional podcast. But over the years, it grew into much more than a podcast. It became a vehicle for fostering online peer support communities, conducting real-world outreach, and driving momentum for creative content. Over 60 hours of audio are now featured on the podcast. I've personally interviewed dozens of bipolar people from all walks of life and also shared my own stories. Through these conversations, we've reached thousands of fellow mentally ill individuals and assured them that they are not alone. We've also educated and informed the wider public about key issues impacting us. And that's only the tip of the iceberg. To date, I've facilitated hundreds of mental health discussions on the Twitter and X Spaces platform. Thousands of listeners and speakers have come through these groups to find a supportive and encouraging online community. If you've been following my work for a while now, you actually know me pretty well. I've shared a lot of personal stuff about myself throughout the Bipolar Recorder podcast series. The good, the bad, the ugly. My outreach comes from a place of authenticity and honesty. At the time of this recording, it's Sunday, June 8th, 2025. I'm sitting in my living room with my laptop. Through the window, I see the sun rising over the mountains. I've been going through some changes and reductions with my psych medication lately, and I am being mindful of my general mental stability. Since the last installment of Bipolar Recorder was released, the one where I talked about the chicken job and the strange times I experienced last winter, I've been continuing to work away at both my new case management position and my moonlight endeavors. I now hold some formal behavioral health certifications, courtesy of my new employer. I've been considering pursuing a graduate degree in psychology and am researching various programs. There have been some key events in my personal life, too. My 87-year-old grandfather recently suffered a fall and broke his hip. His recovery isn't going well, and my grandmother, who I'm very close with, is in progressing stages of Alzheimer's. I've spent a lot of time over the last couple of weeks thinking about the circle of life and what there is to learn from it. It's strange and sad to see a man who survived the Vietnam War ultimately be taken out by tripping over his own feet. Similarly, it's frustrating and distressing no longer being able to hold a coherent conversation with a woman who spent over 30 years dedicating herself to public education and nurturing the minds of students. These concepts perplex me, but not everything is bad. In fact, just last weekend, I attended a wedding for one of my oldest friends. We'd originally met when we were 11 years old and started an incredibly mediocre punk rock band together. Now we're both 32, and it's surreal and incredible thinking of how far we've come. Several of our mutual buddies from high school were in attendance as well, many of whom I hadn't seen in over a decade, and it was amazing reconnecting with them. We shared with each other about where we'd been and where we were planning to go in life. We openly reflected on what a rare and unique moment it was to reunite and celebrate such a beautiful, positive occasion together. The whole experience was emotional and heartwarming. All of these recent events have made me realize that old memories are still alive in our hearts, that the impacts we have on each other can make lifelong impressions. And even if we're not sure when or where our individual journeys will end, we're leaving a legacy. I have an extremely important and urgent update for listeners of this show. You may recall during the last installment of Bipolar Recorder, installment 60, I briefly mentioned my goal for this summer is to produce an audiobook edition of my latest memoir, Happy Valleys, A Bipolar Journey. Audiences have been requesting an audiobook edition since before Happy Valleys was even officially published, and I've been developing a strategy to make such a major project possible. After much research and careful deliberation, I decided that the most effective and realistic way to develop an audiobook for Happy Valleys is to launch an official fundraising campaign on Kickstarter.com. There will be unique, limited edition merch and other rewards offered to people who pledge to this campaign. There's currently a pre-launch page available on Kickstarter that you can follow if you would like. The full campaign goes live this Wednesday, that's June 11th, 2025, and it ends at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, July 12th. That means that there are just 30 days to support this cause. If you're not familiar with Kickstarter, it's an all-or-nothing format, meaning that if I don't hit my funding target, the project fails and there's no payout. My goal is to raise at least $1,149. Proceeds go toward equipment, professional audio production, and audiobook distribution. If the goal isn't reached, people who pledge to the project do not get charged for anything, meaning this is risk-free. And in turn, I don't get funding for anything if we don't meet the target. It's a high-stakes situation, and I've never tried anything like this before, so I'm excited and also nervous to see how it goes. There are various reward tiers at different price points, so you can determine whatever level you're most comfortable supporting at. Some of the rewards for supporters include limited edition stickers, buttons, signed copies of my previous books, audience shoutouts, and more. To find it on Kickstarter, visit the Kickstarter website or mobile app and simply search Happy Valleys or my name, Hunter Keegan, and the project will come up. It's very easy to find, but if you have trouble, just let me know and I can point you in the right direction. The campaign link is also available in this podcast episode description if you would like a direct link. Wednesday, June 11th until Saturday, July 12th. The sooner we secure funding, the sooner I can get the audiobook out. If the campaign is successful, I anticipate that the final Happy Valleys audiobook will be released via Audible in October 2025, just in time for Halloween. Happy Valleys, a Bipolar Journey audiobook fundraiser at Kickstarter.com. Limited edition merch, special rewards. Check it out. Your support means the world to me. Okay, as always, thank you for listening to this latest installment of the official Bipolar Recorder podcast. Experts report that people who follow this independent advocacy initiative are intelligent, attractive, and all around super rad. And you're one of them, and I'm grateful to have you here. My name is Hunter Keegan. Bipolar Recorder can be followed on various social media platforms. The one I'm most active on is Twitter, aka X, at Bipolar Recorder. I'm also on Instagram at Bipolar Recorder. If you still use Mastodon for some reason, I'm on there as well. Stay safe out there. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the world right now, but I think that as long as we stick together, we'll make it through. Have a wonderful day, evening, or night, wherever you are. Bipolar Recorder is a listener-supported show. To help keep the show running, consider checking out our Patreon page or visiting bipolarrecorder.com.
Unless otherwise stated, the hosts and guests on Bipolar Recorder are not licensed mental health professionals. Bipolar Recorder is not a substitute for therapy or professional medical intervention. If you are having a mental health crisis, please contact your local emergency services.